Hey makeup friends, we're not going to do the usual intro spiel today. I'm not feeling 100%. I'm finally getting my mind back on track and my body is giving up the ghost. That's usually what happens after I've been very stressed for a very prolonged time. As soon as that stress starts to alleviate, my body just gives up on me. So my back is threatening to go out. It's a little tender today. We're just going to take it easy. But I have two of the new face products from DANESSA MYRICKS and I want to put them to the test and share my thoughts on them with you. And I think we're just going to throw in a few little bonus comments on this little guy here from Tarte as well. But the main focus is DANESSA MYRICKS. So on the one hand, we have the Yummy Skin Glow Serum, which I picked up in the shade Main Squeeze. And then we have the Yummy Skin Foundation Serum, which I picked up in the shade 5G. These are both just recently released on Sephora. That's where I picked mine up. Let's talk about this one first. So this is the Glow Serum. Not wild on the name Yummy Skin. I just don't like the word yummy. I'm almost 42 and it feels weird to say that word. But regardless, here we are. I've brought it up on the Sephora website just to read some information on it. It is $46 Canadian. For that, you're getting 1.1 ounces. There are two shades available. One is Juice Boost, which is a warm copper bronze for all skin types. And then this one that I picked up is Main Squeeze, which is a champagne gold for all skin types. The highlights are that it's good for dullness and uneven texture. It has a radiant finish, hyaluronic acid, it's hydrating, plumping, and it's good for dryness. It says that it's a skincare infused radiant priming serum that hydrates, preps, and protects skin for a lit from within glow. The highlighted ingredients here are vitamin C, which visibly brightens dullness and protects skin from free radicals, niacinamide, which minimizes the appearance of pores, and hyaluronic acid, which hydrates and visibly plumps fine lines and wrinkles. This is a vegan and cruelty-free product. If you are new to my channel, I'll just give you a very brief rundown of the situation we've got going on here. As I said, I'm 41, I'll be 42 in June. I have fairly well-balanced skin. It does lean a little bit more towards the dry side, although I don't really consider it to be dry per se. Don't deal with any oiliness. I do have Botox, so across my forehead, a little bit in the crow's feet, and just a tiny bit under the eyes as well. I just want to be upfront with you about that. But let's go ahead and apply this. So the packaging is like a little squeeze tube. It's got a nice wide base, which I actually like. So if you want to stand it in a holder or on your table, it will stand and not fall over. So I do like that. And then it's just a little squeeze tube here. This is the first impressions. I have not used either of these products yet, so we shall see. I'm just going to apply it to one side of my face so that we can see what we're working with. It is very, very liquidy and smells a tiny bit fruity, but nothing overpowering. Okay, let us apply. And then I've got a clean brush here. This is one from Rare Beauty. I'm just going to smear that in. It smells a little bit like the Glow Recipe watermelon stuff. Any of the watermelon stuff. It has that same kind of scent. Noticeable, but not heavy. It's blending into the skin nicely, not producing any sort of weird cast on my skin. And there is a little bit of a glow, but nothing overpowering. I'm trying to see it in the viewfinder and in the mirror. Subtle. It's subtle. So why don't we just add a little bit extra just to see what kind of intensity we can get out of this. I'd say it's definitely more subtle than the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless filter. That one goes on rather intense just on first application. But this has a much thinner consistency to it than that one. So I'd say it's a little bit more noticeable, but it's definitely I could wear this product without any foundation and not feel like I was too shiny. It just adds that healthy lit from within glow like they claimed. So I'm liking the way that it looks on the skin. There is a little bit of tackiness, but it hasn't had a chance to dry down yet, so I'm not overly surprised by that. While I'm letting that dry down, I'm going to apply the Backstage primer to this side because we're going to go in with the foundation, and I want to be able to have a primer on both sides. To try to do these as scientifically as possible, sort of. I just don't want to apply a foundation with a primer on one side and no primer on the other, because then I can't really give, accurate feedback in terms of the longevity of the product. And the reason I'm going to use the Backstage primer is because it just acts like a moisturizer, really. Like, it doesn't add any real luminosity to my skin, nor does it like blur or mattify. So I find that it's like as neutral of an option underneath foundation, so we can really see what the foundation brings to the table rather than what the primer does for it. So again, we've got the DANESSA MYRICKS here, the Dior on this side. I say that more for my benefit than yours, because I really need to drill it in so I don't mess it up at the end of the day. But let's go ahead now, let's go ahead now with the foundation. So one thing to point out is that this is a recyclable component. And so this part in the middle, you can buy like the little cartridge individually. I think it's about $33, I believe. $32 Canadian for the replacement. For the initial purchase for everything, it is $46 Canadian. For that, you're getting a little bit less than a standard ounce. There is 0.85 ounces in here, or 25 milliliters. There's 26 shades available. The highlights are that it's a liquid formula, medium coverage, radiant finish, it's hydrating, vegan, and the refill is available. It's a skincare hybrid foundation with medium buildable coverage that effortlessly creates a natural skin-like glow. The highlighted ingredients are jojoba oil, which intensely moisturizes and softens the skin, hyaluronic acid, and olive-derived squalane? I need to Google that. Squalane, there we go. Known to balance oil production and diminish visible signs of aging. Again, it is cruelty-free, gluten-free, and vegan. Okay, so removable component creates a little bit of difficulty in this packaging. So, although I haven't applied it to my face, I did open it up because I wanted to see what it looked like, and it took me a little while to figure it out. So if you twist too far down, you're going to twist its butt off. And if you twist too far down from the top, you are going to twist the entire top off. I would have loved if this lid just pulled off, but you have to twist it. So it's just a little minor learning curve, but what I had to do the first few times was like actually pinch this and turn that, because the whole thing wanted to turn. I would have preferred that this was just like a pull on, pull off, but here we are. And so you can see it just becomes a little squeeze tube. So let's go ahead and just, that's about the normal amount that I would use. Again, rather runny. It says that it's medium coverage. It's looking a little bit more aggressive and assertive than that, but we shall see. And we shall see if those different primer options make any sort of discernible difference once the foundation is applied on top. So I'm gonna go in with my flat top kabuki brush from Sigma. This is the F80. Mine is on its last legs. It's starting to shed pretty badly, but I've had it for several years, so I'm not overly surprised by that. Medium coverage, my butt. Okay, that is most definitely, unless it really shears out in blending, that is not medium coverage. Wow, okay. I should have done just one side of my face, but it's been forever since I filmed and now I've forgotten how. Apparently. Okay, it's blending out nicely. But I would argue that that's still more than medium coverage. That's a hell of coverage. That's a lot of coverage. Okay, we're gonna keep blending. Once I get it all applied, we'll come back and see what we think of it. Literally just realized I never double checked to see if that primer got less tacky. Sorry. All right, there she is applied. From this distance, I mean, my mirror is about a foot in front of me. I can't see any freckle except that one there. Oh, and that one right there. But like all of my freckles on my nose, I don't see them. So pretty significant coverage. I am gonna grab an extra brush here. This one is the Pro Diffuser number 64 from Sephora, although I bought this a few years ago and I'm pretty sure they changed the brush, unfortunately. I don't actually like this for applying foundation, but I like it once the foundation is on and then I can just do a final little buff and blend. So that's what I'm going to do. I will say that I am aware of the foundation on my skin. It does not feel lightweight. We'll see how I feel in a bit with that, but right now, initially, I'm not in love with the way that it feels on my skin. Okay. Also, in application, I did notice a scent to it. It's not that same watermelon scent that the primer has. It reminds me of like some sort of soap, like hotel generic shampoo or something. That's oddly specific, but it's not unpleasant, but nor is it a scent that I would want to like purchase and spray on myself voluntarily for whatever that's worth. Okay, let's take a look, because my nose can be a little bit tricky for foundation. It doesn't always like to blend nicely over my nose. And that is what is happening here. So I will bring it in. I'm going to turn the side lights down as well so you can really see how it looks. But for right now, I just want to see if there are any problem areas and just try to blend those as best I can. It's not blending super well between my eyebrows, and then again, my nose is quite mottled. Coverage is definitely there though, so if you're looking for good coverage, don't be fooled by this medium coverage claim, because I think it's definitely on the higher end, closer towards full coverage. Okay. Barry just got home from work, so if you hear him in the background, he's just greeting the pets. Okay, let's go ahead, turn the light situation down, bring you in closer, and we'll take a look at this. All right, so I've got the lights down as low as they will go. It's still pretty bright looking at the camera. Looking in my mirror, it makes it a little bit harder to see what I want to point out. However, I'm hoping that the camera will pick up on the fact that it's just not blending very well in between my eyebrows. It just still looks like it's kind of pooling around here. So I'm a little concerned about how it's going to look in a few hours time. And then on the top of my nose, if you can see, especially like right on the very like top of my nose, I don't know the anatomical structure, anyways, like right here, it's just like just kind of like split apart across the top of my nose there. That does happen with some foundations, not all, but some. And I will say, was it yesterday or the day before? I think it was the day before. I did exfoliate my face. So I don't think that this is like a skin issue. I think it's just the foundation isn't blending well across my nose. So those are the only two big issues that I see. Although, yeah, if I press, can you see that right there? I just press gently into my skin and now there's like a fingerprint. See if it does it over here as well. Yeah, you can kind of see that outline right in there. So I think setting this is going to be quite important. And I'm going to predict now that there's going to be a fairly significant amount of transfer before I set it. So we shall see. it feels heavy on my skin. Like I'm aware of it. And there is like a slight bit of tackiness. I think that'll go as we set it and as it dries down fully, but it doesn't feel greasy. It just feels like thick, like it just feels heavy on my skin. So again, this is just a first impression. The next time I try it, because I am going to try it again, I'm going to use way less product and then build up from there. I just used what I would like normally use, but little goes a long way with this one. So, okay. You know what? Forget, while we're in here this close, let's go ahead and apply the Tarte, what the hell is this? Tarte C Power Flex Concealer, which I have in 20S Light Sand. I just bought the mini, and I gotta say, I love that Tarte does that. Like, all of their concealers are available in mini sizes. I think all of their mascaras and possibly all of their foundations as well. We need brands to get on that. I love that. Okay. I have been wearing this quite a bit. I'm really putting it to the test, so I can speak a little bit more on this one. It's not my favorite of the Tarte concealers. I will say that right out of the gate. I didn't prepare with a brush in advance. It is better than the Hydroflex concealer that they have. I think that's what it's called. This one's the Power Flex. The other one is the Hydroflex. I'll put it on the bottom of the screen. I can't remember off the top of my head. This one is not as good as the Creaseless, but I would say it's kind of like right on par with the Shape Tape. I would say this one is a little bit more lightweight while still offering really good coverage. It does wear fairly well throughout the day, although it's not as good as, say, the KVD Good Apple one or the Tarte Creaseless Concealer. So if you really want one that packs a ton of coverage and does last really well throughout the day, I would go with the Creaseless. But this one is nice and lightweight. It does feel very hydrating under the eyes. And even at the end of the day, even though some of that coverage has like sort of dissipated throughout the day, it doesn't look awful under the eyes. It doesn't dry everything out. It doesn't look like the Sahara under there or anything like that. So there, you can see it does cover up those dark circles really nicely, blends in really well. No complaints about this one. Last thought before we bump it out though, I am not seeing any discernible difference with the DANESSA MYRICKS primer versus that like Dior thing that is basically just a moisturizer. I would have expected that this would be a little bit more glowy, but that could also just speak to the nature of the coverage, like the amount of coverage that's there. All that to say, I do like this, especially if I was going to wear it just on its own, just to like help my skin look a bit healthier without having to put anything of coverage on it. But as like an actual glowy primer, I don't really think that it's necessary. I would go more towards like the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filter, Hollywood Flawless Filter. If you really want that shine to poke through, that one does. This one doesn't, so take that for what it's worth. Okay, well, let's back it up. All right, so the last thing to do before I just go on with my day is the transfer test. So my screen is nice and clean. Going to hold it up to my cheek for just a few seconds, pretend that I'm talking on it. You know the drill. This is nothing new. You can see what I'm doing. Okay, that's sufficient. There's a fair amount of transfer on there. The entire area that was touching my skin, there is transfer on there. So definitely want to go ahead and set that into place. I'm not feeling great right out of the gate on this one. And just, I don't like being aware of the foundation on my skin. So we will see. I'm not going to prejudge it. I'm going to do a wear test. I'll come back. What time is it? It's late. It's 12:30 in the afternoon. We're going to do at least 8 hours. I will do at least 8 hours. I will come back in. We'll see how it's held up. We'll call it a day at that point. So I shall see you in a few seconds for you. Hello, we are back for a check-in. Few things. I never got beyond this stage of my makeup. I promptly went upstairs and fell asleep on my brand new reclining chair. So that's how my day is going. Also, I said we were going to do an 8-hour wear test. We're not. We are at 3 hours, keeping in mind I've been asleep for about an hour and a half of those. But I am so desperate to get this off of my face that we're just gonna cap it at 3 hours because it's horrific. Not to be dramatic, I do not like this foundation. Let me explain. Welcome to my face. Okay, this is just a hot old mess. Like it's not good. Right in here, remember I said I was having issues with blending it? It shows. It is all pooled in here. It looks dry. It looks cakey. It looks awful. I did set it with a bit of like the Laura Mercier translucent setting powder. Tiny amount. I don't use a lot of powder. But you'd think that I just dunked my whole face in that jar because this looks awful. The corner of my nose, it's all caked up in that corner. My nose is a complete write-off just on the whole. Like it never blended nicely on top of it. You can see it really struggled with where the nose piercing is. Like it is not good. Under the tip of my nose here, it's all like flaky and crusty and dry looking. It looks worse now with makeup on than it did before with no makeup. It is just not good. Not good at all. It is like sitting on top of my skin. From a distance, it looks okay, like it really does, but when you get up close, it does not look good. It just, I wish I could make some sort of like, but it has this saving grace. No, it doesn't. I just want this off my face. I can feel it. It just feels heavy. It doesn't feel greasy at all. It just feels heavy. Like I'm just aware of it on my skin and I don't want it on my skin anymore. All right, I think I've made my point abundantly clear, but I am going to insert some pictures taken in natural light just so that you can really see what it is that I'm talking about. Now, I'm gonna try in editing to show you like the picture from a distance and then zoom in on the parts that are just like, hold on to your butt. Eesh. Also, like, I'm sure you could see it when we were in the close-up, but like it's all caked up even in the corners of my mouth. And it's just like, it's just drying the ever-living crap out of my skin. And like I said earlier, I don't really have particularly dry skin. And this is not it. This is just not it. And regardless of which side it is, like remember I had those two different primers. Obviously you remember it was like 2 minutes ago for you, but 3 hours for me. There's no discernible difference. So this is just not playing well regardless of the primer underneath it. I don't think I'm gonna be keeping this one. I don't enjoy returning makeup. Like that's not ever the goal for me. I don't buy stuff for the purpose of just like, oh, we'll just review it and then send it back. I try to make things work. I don't know if I can salvage this foundation. However, having said that, I am going to try it again. I'm going to try with a very small amount, just like the bare minimum to cover my face. We'll see how that goes. I will provide an update in a pinned comment. But for now, I just am going to go wash my face and we're going to call this video at an end. I do like the, whatever this thing is, this here, the glow serum. I do like this. I think this is really pretty, especially if it's your only base product that you're wearing. I think this is going to be great for really light makeup days because it just makes my skin look that much healthier without being too over the top. I really like this. Need I say it again? Okay. With that out of the way, I'm going to wrap the video up here. If you enjoyed this review and the close-ups of my flaky skin, please give it a thumbs up. If you're not already subscribed, this is what you get when you come to this channel. So if you like it, subscribe. If you don't, that's okay. There's other creators. But with all that said, I'm gonna say goodbye and I will see you in my next video. Until then, just be a decent human being. Bye for now.